Let's bring in this clip here called 5 RGB. What we have is an image of a castle sitting out in the middle of the water somewhere. Right now, just to look at this, we can see that it's a very green image. If I go to my Lumetri scopes, we can see just how much so. Right now, everything in my vector scope is shooting down towards the greens, and in the waveforms you can see that the greens are up towards the top and the reds are crushed very much down towards the bottom. Now we could try to white balance this, and I'll go ahead and do that by picking this cloud up here, which is nice and white, but we can see that not much has changed. This is actually already fairly white balanced. If I wanted, I could drag up my reds a little bit and maybe adjust some of my blues and oranges, but it's sort of affecting the whole image a bit differently than I would like it to. If I wanted to, I could mask out certain areas, like the castle, but that all gets a bit confusing over time. So instead I want to show you how to use curves. Underneath Lumetri Color, click on this option that says Curves. Now curves are a little bit complicated, and I'll be honest with you when I say that using these RGB curves in particular, it's something that you're going to just learn how to do better the more you personally use it. But let me go ahead and show you exactly what these do. Starting with this top one here called RGB Curve, we can now affect individual colors within our image. Right now we're on white. If we just click on this endpoint here, watch what happens when I drag it all the way down. By dragging it all the way down, you can see that all of the white has been crushed out of this image. Drag it all the way up and to the left, and now the image is almost purely white. But this is called curves, not straight line. So if I wanted to, I could just click anywhere on this line, and it will give me a new point. And I can start to move this line around. Depending on how I shift this line, it's going to affect different spots in my image. Note that I still currently have a point going in the dead center, but now I'm adjusting certain elements to go up and down. And so because of this, all of my darkest spots are actually becoming brighter, and all of my lightest spots are now becoming much darker. If I do it in inverse, you can see the exact opposite happen. All of my shadows have gone almost to pure black, and all of my highlights to pure white. You can add in more points if you want to in order to adjust this further. If I knew I wanted my blacks to be a bit darker, I could just keep adding in points and making it even darker, while making my highlights nice and bright. And again, all I have to do in order to see what I've changed is just click on the check mark. We can do the same thing with our 3 main colors of red, green, and blue as well. Right now green is our overwhelming color, and I can see that there's quite a bit of green in every spot in this clip. I want to take the greens out of my highlights a little bit, which is right now in the water. So all I need to do is click on this green dot, and automatically you can see I now have a green line. And if we affect it the same way that I showed you with the white earlier by bringing it all the way down, we can see all the greens have been removed, all the way up into the left, nothing but green. So if I know that the right side of this is going to affect my highlights more so, I can make a point in my center, and then make a couple more points up here, and just lower it slightly, just to try and take some of the green out of those highlights, and maybe even a little bit out of my shadows. And then I can attempt adding a little bit of red in. Maybe I'll add just a tiny bit of red into the highlights, just to brighten up that water a little. Maybe I'll try bringing in just a little bit of red into my shadows, just to bring out a little bit of contrast in my colors a bit. And then I'll just lower down the blues a little altogether. This is definitely an odd look that I've made, and it might not be what you're going for, but it does show you how you can use curves in order to affect very specific points in your image. You can also use curves in order to make a very stylistic image. If we wanted to, we could majorly affect our whites, and now all of a sudden we have this very odd image, but this could be a look that you're going for some reason. Feel free to try out these curves in different and creative ways, and simply get to know what they do.